How's it going, Mustangs? I wanted to get with you this week and talk to you about it. We got two videos again this week for two separate lessons. Session one is going to be all about the oil boom in Texas. Really big, important time in Texas when some things really change. The finding of oil in Texas has a huge impact on Texas and pretty much the world as well too. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off and talk about the oil boom in Texas. And if you remember from a couple weeks ago when we talked about a boom, that basically means a huge, a fast expansion and growth. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so back in the 1860s. They've been finding, people have been drilling for oil in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's up in this part of the United States. If we look at this map of the United States, Pennsylvania's up in here. They've been drilling for oil in Pennsylvania for by 1900, about 40 years. So they started drilling about 1860s, and they found some oil. And when they say they found some oil, they found some oil. Enough to do some of the work in the factories and things like that. But there wasn't really a huge market for the oil. And so it wasn't really something that was incredibly valued. It was a value, but it wasn't something that's value what we see to it today. Well, by about 1900, there becomes a greater need for oil. Railroads have started going, big machines and factories and things like that are going on all over the United States and even the world. Okay, and so oil becomes something that's much more valuable. Well, outside Beaumont, Texas, and Beaumont, Texas is right over here. Outside Beaumont, Texas, there's a little bitty place called Spindletop Hill. And people had tried to drill around there for oil for years, but nobody really been successful. One of the reasons why people drilled there is they knew it was what's called a salt dome. And some of the things that geologists knew is that a lot of times under salt domes, we find oil. Sometimes it even smelled. The area around there kind of had a smell of like methane. They just had a smell of the gas and the oil. And so that made people think that was a place where we could find oil. And remember now, at this time, oil is starting to become much more valuable. Well, two guys. Starts off with a guy named Patillo Higgins. Okay, Patillo Higgins was a self-taught geologist. That means he kind of learned a lot of it on his own. He didn't formally go to school and learn geology, but he thought there might be oil under Spindletop Hill. Like, remember I talked about it. It was a salt dome. They thought that there was oil under there. People had tried to drill there before, but he just thought, you know what? He knew what he was doing better, and he would be able to do it. He would be able to drill a little deeper and maybe find that oil. Well, another businessman, drilling for oil was expensive, and so you couldn't do it unless you had a lot of money. Well, the geologist, Patillo Higgins, needed to have someone with money. So he found Anthony Lucas. He was a businessman, and he basically funded the drilling. And they decided to lead a team to do some drilling at Spindletop Hill. Okay. Well, the guys they chose, they got these guys called they were named the Hamill brothers, Al and Kurt Hamill, and they were the ones that basically led the drill team on Spindletop. They had some new technology, some really, really creative thinking. It was because they were drilling, it was really sandy. And so as you would drill down, these holes that you're drilling down in that sandy soil, a lot of times it would collapse on itself. And so they learned how to use mud to increase the strength in the hole, basically the borehole, the hole they were drilling down. And they got down over 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet. Now that's quite a ways. That's definitely, it's about one lap around the track when we do Pony Express is about 1,000 feet. And that's what they went straight down. That's how far they went straight down. And they still found nothing but mud. Then, in January 1901, the well struck oil. And the reason why we call it a gusher, if you look at this picture right here, this shows you, here's people. Okay, here's the oil well, the old derrick. Basically, the derrick is what holds the pipes as they drill down. Well, once they punctured that hole where the oil was, it was under so much pressure. There was so much oil and it was under so much pressure over 1,000 feet down. It's kind of like if you've got a water balloon and you poke a hole in it, what does that water do? It shoots out of that water balloon. Well, way down underground, there's a big kind of like a water balloon for out. It's basically a big reservoir, a big place where there's lots of oil under pressure. Well, when you poke that hole, that oil now has a place to go. And it shot over 150 feet up into the air. Okay. What we have here, and these will be two little short videos you can watch here about, that kind of gives you a little bit more about Patillo Higgins and about the Hamill brothers and the drilling process that they did as they were drilling down. Well, what's crazy about this? Overnight, that gusher at Spindletop produces more oil all by itself than the rest of the oil wells in all of the United States combined. For 1 week, for 7 days, it was gushing out 100,000 barrels of oil every day. Now, think a barrel. It's not like, and it's like the big old huge trash cans maybe that we have outside school. Those are in the cafeteria. That's about a barrel size. So 100,000 of those every single day. And now, remember, like I said, the oil is becoming more valuable. People were able to sell it to make a lot of money. And so thousands of people, as the news of this goes out, thousands of people rush to Beaumont to try to get rich. And if you look right here, here's the area of Spindletop. This is basically about a year and a half later. Look at all these oil wells drilling everywhere. Look right here. Here's Beaumont. Basically, everywhere you could look, there was an oil well. Beaumont was a sleepy little town of about 9,000 people. And it increased in size 5 times, over 5 times bigger in just a couple of months, went to over 50,000 people. Okay, these boom towns grew up as people found new oil. Okay, and if one thing's kind of cool, if you watch this little video down here, if you click on this, that'll take you to basically you can still go visit the Spindletop Gladys City boom town today. And there's a museum there, and they have a little reenactment of the oil gusher and things like that. Watch this pretty short little video to walk you through and let you see a little bit of the history of this town. Okay. Well, now our activity you're going to do after this, after you read through the reading, and after we've listened to this, you're going to do this crossword puzzle. Okay, this crossword puzzle looks like this. If you've done one before, you know that these clues are for the ones that go down. These clues are for the words that go across. And so you'll read the number. Number 1 says, the man who discovered the Spindletop oil well, the gusher is named after him. Well, what you do is you find 1 across right here, and you're going to figure out what that person's name is and write it right there. Okay, it's got to fit that number of letters. And what's cool about this is once you get this letter, now you have a clue to what this is as you go down. Okay, so read these clues. The answer key is also linked in the lesson, so you can look at that too to help yourself with that as well. But this is definitely a very, very cool time for Texans. Very, very cool time for Texans as this oil boom occurred. It'd be pretty cool to be there and see that oil well gushing out of the ground. See that spraying up in the air for a week, basically out of control before they were able to cap it. Okay, so alrighty. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned a little bit, and I will see you when you get to work on session 2.